just obviously it's transfer deadline day, Brad. What's the possibility of any activity between now and then?
Unlikely, I think. I probably think unlikely.
Has there been much going on behind the scenes?
I've had a few names thrown at us, but Ian's been across that and we've discussed them. At the moment, touch wood, we're reasonably healthy in terms of our squad. Comfortable with the guys here of playing their role, and if a few young blokes need to get an opportunity, well, I'm happy to do that too.
And Leon Ruan has moved to Hull on loan initially. Have there been other clubs trying to take players out of Leeds?
Yeah, been a couple, but we just need to make sure we keep enough for us, and it's a good opportunity for Leon to get some footy and get some exposure.
It is indeed. Is there much out there when you say names have been thrown at you, and obviously clubs have been speaking to you? Is there much out there when you're looking at potential new faces
to come in for now?
To come in, yeah, for now.
I wouldn't think so.
A lot of injuries across the board, isn't there?
Yeah, and clubs aren't going to try and help prop oppositions up that might be a threat either. So, at the moment I think we're better off just going with what we've got and sticking with our blokes that have been in our system and are waiting there for an opportunity.
What about the squad news ahead of Saturday's game? How different could the team look?
From last week? No, it's the same. Except obviously, Big Sam, SA had to leave us, so Justin will come in and get an opportunity. But outside of that, it's the same.
The other Big Sam?
Sam Lasoni, yeah.
Yeah, avoided a suspension.
Yep.
Were you surprised or not?
Look, I wasn't really, because felt like he led with his shoulder, and then that was the first part of contact, and then his arm did become involved, but that was like after the initial bump and collision, and so by the time his elbow became in that position where it was a little bit sideways and connected, the initial contact and collision, it was all textbook.
Mikolaj Ledski looked like he picked up a knock last week. Is he okay?
Yeah, he had a light week, but it probably wouldn't hurt him off the back of that was a 5-day turnaround last week, and the forwards really front-loaded their effort areas, and they were nice and physical, and so what's important for us is that he's able to produce tomorrow and give us what he's got collision-wise, so we've just looked after him a bit, but he's trained today and he's fine.
And what do you want to see more of from the Huddersfield game to the Salford game?
Yeah, I don't want to see us get bored with how we're trying to play. I need to see them be hungry to want to keep working hard for their mate. I thought last week we were prepared to roll the sleeves up early, get dirty, and Huddersfield really went after us and were quite physical, and we withstood that and put some points on late in the first half, and then we were happy to come back out in the second half and start again, not try and just think that we scored a couple of late tries. We should, and we had to build early and we didn't get any points early, and we had to defend our line, and we showed a bit of fight under pressure, and then we put the points on late again. That's how you need to try and win games of football. So I want to see us do that and not get bored with that and be happy that's how you play.
And I know it's still early days, but have you detected a difference in the mentality amongst English players or the English teams compared to back home, insofar as we can sort of drift off and lose a bit of concentration?
I don't know. I can only judge these guys I've been here for 2-3 weeks. I can only judge on what I'm seeing on now, and I don't know the rest of the competition or plays in the competition well enough, and I'm not within their camp to make those comments. But what I do know of these guys at the moment, the hunger's there, I can see it, and the way they're training, but we need to see it again tomorrow in the game, and that's, at the end of the day, that's the only thing that we can judge them on. We can train as good as we like, and then if we don't go to the game with the right desire, well, it doesn't mean anything. Or we can train as bad as we like and then go with the desire, and so that the priority is the 80 minutes and what we do in that, and that's what we're going to be judged on, and that's what the nature of the business is.
What's your homework shown up on Salford, Brad?
I'd like to shift the ball a lot. They play a lot of footy. They'll shift, and then you got to be good at getting your line set, and because they'll test you straight back on the other side of the field the next play. So we're going to have to move fast in defence. With our line, that's going to be important. But in terms of the things that we've just been trying to be consistent with some marker work and some line speed led from the inside. We need to be good at that again, and that's more of a work on and an improvement and a maintain from our last week's performance. And then with the ball, they get up hard on the edges and try and frustrate you. So we just got to be comfortable to stick to our plan and not get frustrated and be prepared that we're going to have to stay in it and build for a full 80 minutes.
Are there any players in that group, the Salford group, that you particularly need to watch, do you think?
Well, I think both their centres are strong when they carry the ball. So can't afford to give them too much opportunity one-on-one or a disjointed line, and you're going to have to really commit to your contact with those guys because they can both offload, stand in the tackle, beat a man. So, but we can control a bit of that with what we do through the middle third of the field and making sure that we're nice and tidy and clean there. And obviously then their halfback has got a good kicking game, does a lot of kicking. They kick early a lot, score tries off early kicks, so we've got to have our awareness around that.
You got that win last week, you've got that momentum now. Do you sense that there's the potential to go on a bit of a fruitful run now?
Well, I've seen the hunger and the drive during the week. I've seen them be committed to the detail. But, look, it matters tomorrow. It matters when they're under pressure tomorrow. It matters when they're tired tomorrow, that they've still got that hunger and they can still continue to find that detail and, try and find good habits under pressure is, going to be the test for us.
I think it was earlier in the week the club announced that Rhys Martin will be moving on at the end of the year. You've not worked with him long at all, but do you get a sense of how big a loss he will be to the group there?
Yeah, look, it's disappointing and it's a loss, but the one thing I have come to learn in our game is that these things happen all the time, and sometimes one door closes for someone and it opens for someone else, and it's an opportunity for other blokes to step up. And we wanted Rhys to stay, but he's got to do things for himself. But like I said, sometimes the door closes on one person and other opportunities and chapters open for other guys, and that's the way we've got to look at it.
It gives you a quota spot as well. Have you got anyone in mind?
No, not at the moment. We'll get some interest, and we just need to sit back and had a bit of a chat with Ian during the week and a bit of a look at the numbers and spots and what we can and can't do. So, we'll get onto that over the next couple of weeks, but it does free up a quota spot.
When you first arrived, you mentioned that a few players had reached out to you. Have any of those developed into anything more serious?
No, nothing at the moment until we actually know exactly where we stand. We know we've got a spot, but how much money that looks like, it would determine, like what market you're in for, what type of player. So there's still a bit of work to be done there.
And do you sense there is an appetite for players still to come over from down under? Because you mentioned money there, and obviously the salary cap disparity is so huge, isn't it, between the two competitions? Is there still a hunger and a desire for players to come over, do you think?
Well, I think so. It all depends, like guys that are in Australia, obviously their preference is to be playing NRL, but if they feel like, they're blocked for a pathway and or they're going to spend a lot of their time playing cup, I feel like the guys are looking at opportunities where they can play at another level, and if that's over here and make a career over here, which a lot of guys have done, it does give guys an opportunity. It gives guys an opportunity to travel as well a little bit. Might give some of the players that are looking to finish their careers in the NRL an opportunity to extend their careers over here too.
What would you say has been your biggest challenge so far at Headingley?
Well, for me personally, just there's a lot of people here, whether they be players and staff, and just putting names to faces. That's probably been my biggest challenge, because I feel like the people here have been really good in making my job easier and more accommodating. The transition into this role and working with me. The buy-in's been good. They've been open to, some adjustments. And yeah, so that's probably been my biggest challenge, is just making sure that I can put names to faces. And sometimes it feels a little bit rude when you might forget someone's name, but I'm slowly getting on top of it. But that's probably the biggest challenge.
And has the move lived up to expectations, or has anything taken you by surprise?
The weather's been good. That's taken me by surprise, because I was expecting a lot of wet weather. But outside of that, look, I feel like I was pleasantly surprised when I walked in to the stadium. AMT Headingley, how great a stadium it is and how lucky we are to have a place like this. It's unreal. So that surprised me. And then if you have a look at our training facilities, well, it's very professional. So, maybe I undervalued or undersold the Super League competition a little bit. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but there's lots of positives about this competition and the professionalism and the way it's run, and I feel like I can still help tidy up bits and pieces and just add to that level of professionalism that they've already got.